Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Allie and welcome to the top comment where I read and react to internet chaos in the form of Reddit stories. So if you like this type of content, please don't forget to subscribe. It's totally free and it means a lot to me. Let me ask you an existential question. If you could live anywhere, change one thing about your past, or be reborn as something totally different, what would you choose? Today's episode is all about if you could moments. So grab a snack and get cozy. We are going to get right on into it. All right, the first story of today, this one comes from Casual Conversation, and it reads, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live and why? And then the person that wrote this said, I live in rural southeast Arkansas, and today I'm tired of being cold. I'm tired of the rain. I'm tired of having to drag my dogs to sit in the bathroom as tornado sirens are going off. In a few months, I'll be tired of being hot and not being able to sleep well at night because of it. We will be begging for rain because we've had none. Our allergies are killing us. It will only get worse. And as much crime and noise as there is around here these days, I might as well live in a big city. If such a place exists, I would love to live somewhere that is between 65 and 85 all year long with limited humidity. You don't have to worry about tornadoes, flooding, ice, snow, because they don't take care of the roads here. Hurricanes or any other major disaster Mother Nature could come up with. Somewhere that I can have a decent place to eat if I choose to eat out, and a decent place to shop. I want to be able to go to the movies from time to time without having to drive 45 minutes to the closest theater that isn't in very good condition anymore, if it's even still open, or double that time to the nicer ones. Where would you choose? I want to live somewhere walkable with decent public transit system and a reasonable cost of living. I like my $600 to rent too much to move right now, even if somewhere like that does exist. That's such an interesting question, and also a very interesting dilemma. I did not like living in Indiana for the exact same reasons, where it's just too dark there. There's not a whole lot of sunshine except in the summertime. I loved going up to Lake Wawasee, but in terms of living in actual Indianapolis, hard pass, would never move back. Sorry, Mom. And as for Colorado, I'm pretty much over it too. It's winter 8 months out of the year here. It's way too damn cold. I'm so tired of dealing with snow and bad drivers and dead car batteries and just how expensive it is out here for nothing, really. I mean, yeah, the mountains are super cool, but I totally get where you're at. I want to read some of these comments, and I want you guys to comment below as well. Tell me where you would live in like a dream world if you could have everything you want. Let's say you wake up and you win the lottery and you win $100 million. Where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? Comment below. All right, so the top comment says, a cabin in the middle of the forest, hundreds of miles away from humans. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But, the smaller the town, the bigger the problems. I'll tell you that right now. The next comment says, right here in sunny San Diego. Not cheap living, but worth it. Beautiful beaches, moderate climate, and lovely people. Come check it out. Wow, San Diego does sound beautiful. Everything that I know about it sounds amazing. I feel like there you're definitely paying for quality of life. Like, you're probably around more like-minded people, probably don't have as high of a crime rate, and like this guy just said, sunny beaches and moderate temperature, that is the dream. Someone replied to this last comment and said, came here to say OP is basically describing San Diego. Not too hot, not too cold, occasional small earthquake that's just enough to knock over your framed photos. Not sure they even really get wildfires the way the rest of SoCal does. Lots of great restaurants and entertainment options. It's more expensive, but the thing about living in SoCal is that you're just a day's drive away from so many world famous destinations. So if you think about it, you're actually paying for all of that too. You know what? I completely agree. San Diego sounds absolutely lovely. I would love to live near the beach and the ocean. I'm definitely not a mountain girl like I thought it was. It's just too cold all of the time here. Wow, so it sounds like SoCal is the place to be, specifically San Diego. That's 2 for San Diego, but let's see what other people have to say. The next one says, ooh, I live in Portugal, and to be honest, I'd like to keep living here. Wow, I would love to move out of the country. What an amazing dream that is. Portugal is just absolutely gorgeous and so rich in culture. I bet that's lovely. The next comment says, win the Powerball, then move to La Jolla, California. There we go. 3 for California. Man, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is, OP. The next one says, hun, I say this with all honesty. There are problems everywhere you live. I've lived in 12 different states at this point, and there were good points and bad points of all. Maine is stunningly beautiful with cheap lobster/ocean fish, cheap land, and a fairly live and let live vibe. But the property taxes are sky high, as are car registrations, and the further you get from Portland or Bangor, the more rural it gets. The summers are delightful, but winters are brutal. Tennessee is probably not that different from your Arkansas. Nebraska was boring as hell outside of Omaha, though I did have some delightful wide open space horse rides. Interesting. Okay. I don't like Nebraska. I don't like any of the flat states. I don't like the Midwest. I'm so sorry if you live in the Midwest. I truly am so sorry. So yes, the grass may be greener for you in another state, but I would recommend doing extensive research and getting to know the areas that hit on the top of your list thoroughly from actual people who live there, not just Google searching the top 10 places to live highlight reels. Yeah, I made that mistake when I moved out to Colorado. I Googled smallest towns and the best views, and it brought me to Crestone, where there ended up being a cult. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube or not, but there was definitely one there, and it was really sketchy. I did not do my research. I stuck it out for almost 2 years though, and I moved right before COVID, and had that not happened, oh my god, I probably would have ended up back in Indiana, and I don't even like to go down that rabbit hole. So definitely do your research, stop and visit for a while, definitely go to the local bars, go to the local Walmart, ask people if they like living here, go talk to the regular normal people, especially if you're thinking about moving to a vacation town. Just because it's a vacation town does not mean that it's good. Sometimes they are, in my experience, they have not been that good. It's really fun to visit there, and it's really dreamy at first, but then once you get to know the people, I mean, my biggest advice for moving is please get to know the people before you move, because that can make or break your entire experience. Take it from someone who that has happened to multiple times. I've moved 12 different times in the last 7 years. So wherever you go, make sure that there is ample housing, because just because you find a house once really doesn't mean that that house is going to be available or stay available. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that if you're renting, you know what the rental structure out there is like. I definitely recommend joining like the local Facebook page, especially if it is a town. You might be able to find out some more information that way, but please don't jump into it blind. Take it from somebody who did that and just absolutely got shafted repeatedly over and over again for the last 7 years. Ooh, looks like we got 4 for California. This next comment says, right where I am in beautiful Southern California. Dang. Okay. 4 people are saying California is the place to be. You know, I'm kind of considering, I'm between California and Washington right now, and I'm not quite sure which one I want to be in. I have pros and cons for each, but reading all these comments saying California kind of maybe feels like a sign. So the next one says Barcelona, Spain. Oh, that's a dream. Easy to be vegan, lots to do, good social atmosphere, arts, interesting, and you're close to a lot of places for outdoor activities with beaches, trees, etc. Oh, Barcelona would just be the dream. I think anything would be the dream outside of America, especially right now. My ultimate dream in life is I want to move to either Washington or California next. And then I want to spend a few years there and build my career up, obviously build my YouTube channel. And then if I could really have it my way, I would love to live on Hawaii someday, one of the islands down there. I think Maui is amazing. I would love to just go and chill and vibe with the locals and just sit there and do my little YouTube thing and be able to enjoy. And then I studied abroad in Japan twice. I went on 2 different spring terms with the university I was going to at the time, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with the food, with the way that they get around. I mean, it was just a dream for me. And also, I didn't have really bad asthma while I was there either time, versus here, my asthma is like terrible 24/7. So if I could have it my way, I would absolutely move to Japan, because I can still do my YouTube thing from there and get to enjoy all of the things that I love. I mean, Tokyo is my all-time favorite city on the entire planet. If you ever get a chance to go, please do. It is the most amazing place in the entire world. I've been a lot of different places, and Japan is just my favorite and then some. The next comment says Hawaii. There you go. That's definitely a dream. I love that. All right, the last comment that we're going to read says Iceland. Since I was a kid, I felt I belonged there. Then when I was in my 20s, I traveled by myself there, and it obviously felt like home. I can't explain why I felt so comfortable. It's just a part of me. Wow, that's exactly how I feel about Japan. It just became a part of me as soon as I traveled there, and I just really fell in love with it. Iceland is definitely on my bucket list. I love to travel. I think if I'm gonna, particularly spend my money on anything, I think it would have to be travel. I mean, just to go and see different cultures and be immersed in something that's totally different from, the day-to-day life here in America. In my personal opinion, it's all very mundane. Our food is not great. Obviously, our political system, y'all know how I feel about that. 0 out of 10. I really think that everybody should go out and see the world if you can. If you ever get the chance to, please go. Comment below, where would you want to live if you absolutely could? If you won the lottery today, right now, where would you move to? Or would you stay exactly where you are? I want to know. All right, we're going to move on to the next story. This one comes from Ask Reddit. And it says, what's a weird little law/rule your younger self made up that you still follow for no good reason? All right, the top comment says, when I meet people, I don't cuss in front of them until they cuss in front of me first. Then I get the green light. That's a very good rule to follow by. Follow the leader in that situation. You never know how people are going to take to bad words, especially in today's day and age. People are either super down with it or they are insanely offended by it, and there's no in between. The next one says, if one of my hands gets wet, the other hand must also get wet. Yes, you have to balance it out. If one is going to get wet, the other one has to get wet too. Otherwise, your finger pads on your one hand are going to feel completely different than the other one. So when you go to touch your fingers together, personally, I would notice this. I absolutely would notice this in a heartbeat. I completely agree. Or if you're going to put like lotion on one, you have to put lotion on the other too. The next one says, if I chew a bite of food on one side of the mouth, I need to chew it on the other side as well. You know what? I totally agree with that too. I do that with mandarin oranges. I break them perfectly in half and I eat exactly one half on one side and exactly one half on the other side. That way my whole mouth can get the flavor and my teeth are equally as cold if I'm pulling it straight out of the fridge. I'm starting to think that there's a lot of neurodivergence on this post. I can sense you guys out. One of us. The next comment says, never ever look behind you after shutting off the lights in the basement. Just haul your ass up the stairs as fast as you can. True, you don't want to get caught by any monsters. I mean, I'm 30 years old and I still turn out the lights and immediately jump from my light switch into my bed every single night, so I can totally relate to this one too. The next comment says, wet toothbrush, apply toothpaste, wet toothbrush again, commence with brushing. I absolutely agree with this one too. I do this as well. That is the routine every single time. The next comment says, the last bite of food has to be the perfect combination of all the ingredients. This is the most important for pizza. We'll eat the crust second to last and move toppings around to create a perfect last bite. And with salads, wraps are a huge pain because without proper planning, I end up on the butt of the wrap with just some lettuce and watery mayo folded weirdly into it. Unacceptable. I definitely do this one too. I do this particularly with steak. I will cut around all of the fatty pieces. I will literally save the best piece of the entire steak, whatever I cut off that just looks the best, that has the least amount of fat and everything on it. I will intentionally save that bite for very, very last. That way I don't get food aversion next time, because sometimes, listen, if you end on a really chickeny bite of chicken, it might leave a bad taste in your mouth for the next time that you try to go eat that food. The next comment says, can't just retie one shoelace. It feels tighter on one foot and I can't focus on anything else. Not to be a pick-me here, but I tie my shoes so good that they never come untied. I never have this problem. They literally stay on the entire day. So I have no idea, but just going based off of what they said about the texture feeling uncomfortable of one being too tight and the other one, I would definitely let my brain go loose on that. And it would drive me nuts to the point of just stopping dead in my tracks just to be able to fix it. If it's got to be fixed and you push it to that point of no return, you got to fix the damn thing. The next one says, always put your valuable items in the same spot so you never lose them. Phone, wallet, keys, PKW is what my best friend says. And that helps me remember my phone, wallet, and keys. That is just an ADHD survival tactic. The biggest thing I've learned in therapy to help myself remember is don't put it down. Put it away. So to all my neurospicy girlies out there, don't put that thing down. Put it back where it belongs so that you don't have to go on an hour search the very next time you're missing it. The next comment says, if a loved one goes to the hospital, they get a stuffed animal. Oh, I love that. This one comes from a sister whose daughter was in the NICU when she was born, and the number of children who had no loved ones there to care for them broke my heart. So that Christmas, every single baby in the NICU got a stuffed animal. Since then, it's been known as my law. I've bought a lot of stuffed animals in the last 35 years. I still have the one I got from my father last time he was in the hospital. The visit he never came home from. I really love that. I think that is so sweet. You are such a kind, good-hearted human. We need more people like you in the world. The next comment says, the best bag of chips I ever had in my life was when I accidentally opened it upside down. I have opened every bag of chips bottom up since. Wow, I can see how that works. All the good crumbs and all the good little flavor dustings kind of sink to the bottom when they're sitting on the shelf like that. Maybe I'll have to try that. Comment below. Have you ever eaten a bag of chips upside down before? I bet it would be bomb. Like, the thing that I'm specifically picturing in my head right now is the Ruffles, the sour cream and cheddar ones. I think that I'm gonna have to try that. That's a really great idea. The next comment says, you must replace the toilet roll on the holder, specifically over, not under, even when at a guest's house. Absolutely. If I walk into your house and you have to grab the toilet paper from under and not just be able to pull it over, I'm going to immediately think that there is something wrong with you. Nobody actually does that. Don't put the roll under, put it over every single time, please. That drives me nuts. I do not like it. I've had people come over to my house and replace the toilet paper roll, and while I appreciate it, they've definitely done it under and not over, and it's just like, have some common sense. Nobody wants to grab the toilet paper, try to reach for it, and then it's all clung to the wall, static electricity underneath. Immediately no. Over, not under, always. All right, you guys, the last comment we're going to read on this one says, never say something to someone online or on the phone that you wouldn't say to their face. That is a wonderful rule to live by, for sure. I'm trying to think, what's the rule that I would use from when I was younger that I made up that I still do now? You know, I think the rule that I had from younger, from, you know, what my parents taught me that I still very much do now is treat people the way you want to be treated. And if they're not going to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, then walk away. You know, if someone's going to treat you badly, don't treat them badly back. Just walk away. But if they're going to treat you amazing, you should try your best to treat them amazing back, because that's really what makes the world go round. This next story comes from Confessions, and this one is about a guy who, in hindsight, if he could have, he probably should have. This one says, the worst mistake I ever made was telling people I had won the lottery. I had won the lottery about 7 years ago. Between my annuity and profits from investments, all net, I got shy of $800,000 a year. I was stunned that I won. Once I confirmed that I won, I started to tell people. I thought they'd be happy for me. They were happy for me for a minute, and then they started to ask me for money. Really? You don't say. Friends and family alike. Then they started to tell other people. I was literally getting 10 calls a day from people asking for money. My favorite was the sister of my coworker saying she needed rent money, and a friend asking me to buy them a $20,000 for a ring he had been dating for only a few months, and she was screwing other guys on the side anyways. Some people successfully used me and I cut them off after. I still helped some people, but I had to cut them off because they were asking me for money only to give it to others or using the money for something very different. It was really traumatic. Oh, honey. I even had a therapist try to rip me off by asking for a cash tip after our session. Now that's just wrong. Is that legal? Is that actually legal? What a betrayment of your trust. I am so sorry that happened to you. That has to feel awful. I was spending more money on people than I was on myself. It's ironic that I have more money than I needed, yet I can't give it away because it brings nothing but problems. People make generosity not worth it. People want me to finance their best lives and have the arrangement be exclusively on their terms. I will never understand why people can't accept one thing without trying trying to get more. I chalk it up that people in my life had no respect for me. Oh, honey, you shouldn't have told people you won the lottery. Don't you know to move in the shadows? I know you thought people were going to be happy for you, and for that, I am so sorry. But, common sense here says that money is the root of all evil. Money is greed. Mo money, mo problems. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that people in your life started to use you, I think it's that they don't have any self-control personally. I think that money truly is the root of all evil. And if they see you have a lot, of course they're going to sit there and be beggars, for your money that you rightfully had. I mean, that's insane. Now we know for the future. I hope you're able to make some new friends. I'm really sorry that happened to you. You definitely deserve to be surrounded by better people. All right, let's get into these comments. The top comment says, you can literally disappear from the face of the earth with that much money. Change your name, go to a new country, delete all social media, change your number. Like, you can do whatever you want, and you chose to stay around these people. That's a little harsh. I can understand why you wanted to stay around people because those are your friends and your family. You know what I mean? It's not just random. It is random strangers, but that's not your fault. Sounds like that's your family's fault. It's very hard to cut off people that you love, and I'm really sorry that you had to. I think that comment was definitely a little harsh, but you got to do what you got to do also at the end of the day. And if they are just constantly begging to the point where it's, threatening you, then yeah, you probably made the right call. But again, it's super sucky nonetheless. The next comment says, 100 stories I've read like this. If I ever won money, nobody would know. Exactly. Like, if you win the lottery, or even if you're just making a lot of money, don't go brag about it. Don't tell anybody else. Oh my God, especially in this economy, that can really get scary. I mean, I would be concerned for my safety at that point if that happened to me and I was going around telling people. Like, people are really unhinged, and I think that people are also really, really desperate, especially right now, and you kind of have to protect your peace, but just protect yourself as a whole. I mean, that's pretty scary. I don't know. The next comment says, there would be signs, but I wouldn't tell anyone. You just see a sudden increase in the amount of Subarus. Yeah, I don't like fancy cars, and the fact I'd be mostly cut off from civilization. I mean, hey, if you know what you like, you know what you like. Subarus are good cars. They'll get you to and from, and you don't have to, do a lot of maintenance on them, unlike some foreign sports car. And again, less risk of it getting stolen or, somebody even potentially harming you for it, because you never know how unhinged people are. Jealousy is a very powerful thing, and it can definitely be scary. So you do want to protect yourself. I mean, if I won the lottery, I would buy a decent house with a yard for my dogs and a pool. I would probably buy maybe another Jeep or something. But other than that, I wouldn't tell anyone. I would live comfortably within my means, and I wouldn't go spend it like some crazy maniac. I'd probably go on an Amazon shopping spree, but who wouldn't? The last comment says, don't give away any more of your money. Start a charity or something. There's a lot of people out there who can use money more often than the people who ask. Your situation sounds rough. I agree. But also, did you really think that telling people you won that much money in the lottery was a good idea at the end of the day? I don't know. That's common sense. I don't know if I've ever been necessarily told that anywhere, but that is definitely common sense. Move in the shadows, honey. Move in the shadows. Get it done. Enjoy your life. I'm sorry you had to cut people off. I hope that you do find new people to be around. And the next time you win the lottery, if you ever win again, don't tell anyone. Okay? Okay, glad we're on the same page here. All right, the last story that we are going to read today also comes from Ask Reddit. This one says, you passed away and are allowed to be reborn, but not as a human. What do you want to be? The top comment has 28,000 upvotes, and it says, a house cat of a childless or empty nest woman you want for nothing. That's very true. I mean, look at Taylor Swift's cats. They are worth millions of dollars. They live such a great life. They're loved on all the time. I mean, look at my dogs, for example. Look at this. Just chilling under the blanket the entire time. Oh, my buddy. You know, look at this. I mean, if I could choose, I would definitely be a dog in a household kind of like mine, except with a backyard, where I could just get loved on and snuggled on all day by my human like this. Like you're being forced into snuggles. Like you're a baby. He's just a baby. Someone replies to that comment and says, cats specifically owned by a devoted lesbian couple. Now there's the dream. You would guaranteed always be taken care of for life. The next comment says, a seagull, live at the beach, can fly and float, get to eat fries, pizza, seafood, etc., not actively hunted, and you can shit on your enemies. That's a really funny one. I like that a lot. The next comment says, a golden retriever in an upper middle class suburban family. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. You would just get pets galore for the rest of your life. You get to go to the groomer. You probably have a swimming pool. I love that. The next one says, orca or some big whale exploring the ocean would be dope. I don't like that. I think that our ocean is full of mysteries that I personally don't want to know. I don't want to know what's down there. What's the statistic on it? That we have discovered like 3% of our ocean or something like that? That's not enough for me to want to go into it in any life form. The next one says, one of the extinct species, like a dodo or a Tasmanian tiger, hide out most of the time, emerge only when there's a conspiracy theorist around, but tuck out of sight as soon as they try to take a picture. Or better, when there's a skeptic around, make them question their skepticism, but be unable to prove what they saw, then move on before they have a chance to prove I was there. Basically, just to mess with humans. And you know what? I feel like that is well deserved. I feel like humans have just destroyed our Earth, and I think that would be pretty funny to mess with some people, make them feel crazy in the head. The next comment says, can I get dibs on a rock somewhere on Pluto? There you go. Yeah, I mean, the post does say that you're not allowed to be reborn as a human, but it doesn't say we can't be born on other planets. I would love to explore what a different planet is like. I would personally love to explore Jupiter. I think that would be so cool. Oh, she just heard me say her name. Jupiter. All right. The next comment says, anything that's not conscious. I agree with that. If I can be a tree out in the forest somewhere and just sway with the wind all day, I think I probably would. The next comment says, a wise old tree on a quiet hill, watching the seasons pass, sheltering life, rooted in place, whispering secrets to wind. Taylor Swift, is that you? That was very poetic. I love that a lot. Imagine just being an old like a 600-year-old tree in one of these forests. I mean, imagine the stories that they have to tell. The next one says, a red panda in a well-funded, conservation-oriented zoo. Yeah, I bet they get treated pretty well. They probably get treats all day, every day, and they're probably pretty lazy from what I know about pandas. The next one says, some rich old lady's yappy dog or cat. I'd get food, sleep all day, and taken care of. And if I'm a yappy dog, I can just yap, 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 and drive people crazy. That's so funny that you can. The next comment says, whatever alien species Mark Zuckerberg is. Oh God, isn't he lizard people? Is that correct? Again, don't come for me, Mark. The next comment says, a panda, no notes. Pandas are super cute. They just sleep all day and eat bamboo, and they just have the most simple life of all the bears. The next comment says, I would want to be a grizzly bear to hibernate all winter. I love sleeping, eating when I'm hungry, and I hate the cold. That's a win-win-win. Yeah, exactly. Just to be able to go snuggle up in a cave all fat and cozy and then wake up the next spring, just miss the entire winter. Oh, what a dream. If you can't move somewhere that doesn't have winter, I guess you got to beat it somehow, and hibernation is pretty legit. The next comment says, a bird. So I can do whatever I want and go wherever I want. Yeah, as a bird, you would be able to travel. What is it? Canadian geese that travel the furthest out of the birds to hibernate? Don't they travel like thousands of miles every year? Like coast to coast or something? Aside from all the hate that Canadian geese get, you know, that's a pretty big trek to make. All right, the last comment on here says, okay, who's to say reincarnation is limited solely to Earth? Presumably it applies to all life anywhere in the universe. To end that, either some highly advanced and peaceful civilization on the corner of a little-known galaxy, or a spoiled and happy dog. Man, those are some great comments and really good insight. If I could be okay, real talk, outside of being reincarnated as a dog, I did see a medium that was on TikTok, and they were talking about how when we reincarnate with us and our pets, like we switch roles as we go throughout lifetime. So like someday they're going to be the owners and I'm going to be the dog. I don't know if any of that's true, but I think it's fun to believe. And, you know, beliefs are just choices at the end of the day. So I choose to believe that. I also don't think that we're alone in the universe. And I think that even though we have still yet to discover what's out there in the universe, which is mind blowing to me, considering it's 2025 and we have all this technology, I think there are other life forms on other planets, maybe even super far outside of our galaxy. I mean, our universe is constantly expanding all the time. So who knows what's out there, how far it goes, where the edge of it is. Now I'm getting really existential on you guys. So I think that means it is time to end today's episode. But thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys, and I will see you on Tuesday for the next one. Bye.